क्या हाल है भाई लोग? What's up? What's up? What's up, guys? Am I audible? Hey, guys. Good morning. What's up? What's up? Thank you, सौरभ. Thanks a lot. हमेशा ना पंप दे दिया करो. सबसे पहले यार, let's wait for 2-3 more minutes. I think more people will be joining it. कैसे हो? Happy 2022 to all of you. कैसे हो? How are you guys? क्या चल रहा है? How are things? I hope everybody is safe and sound. Am I audible? Yes, लिख दो यार चैट में. चैट यस लिख दो चैट में और YouTube वीडियो लाइक कर लो तब तक. टिल द टाइम वी स्टार्ट. आज कुछ अनाउंसमेंट्स करने वाला हूं मैं. आई विल डू सम मेजर अनाउंसमेंट्स टुडे, सो यू विल ऑल ऑफ यू गाइस विल हैव टू लिसन. ऑसम ऑसम. हे आदित्य, हे संकेत, हे सौरभ, हे रोहित, हे क्षितिज. ऑसम. मैं ग्रीन टी पी रहा हूं सुबह सुबह. ऑसम. Before we start, let's kind of like the video for sure. Yeah. This will be available. This is always available. Hey Sharmishta, hi. How are you doing, guys? Jaldi, Gaurav. For sure, we will meet very soon. Very soon. 100%. We'll meet very soon. Right. First of all, hey Richa. Awesome. Awesome. I see 31 folks are there on the chat. We'll start in another 2 minutes. तब तक बताओ यार क्या चल रहा है लाइफ में. How are things? सबको पीएम ही बनना है कि सब आज संडे का कुछ प्लान नहीं कर रहे? Are people not planning to have some fun on a Sunday? Yeah. First Sunday of 2022. First या second Sunday? मीट और ग्रीट कर दो. सबको तो मीट और ग्रीट ही कर रहा हूँ. Awesome. Hey Mohammed. Awesome. Hey Tanuj. Hi. Hey man. How are you guys doing? Awesome. Oh, सौरभ यार प्लीज टेक केयर ऑफ योरसेल्फ. कोविड हो रखा है, ऐसे तो मत करो यार. मतलब एजुकेशन एंड एवरीथिंग इज ओके, बट आई थिंक यू शुड टेक केयर ऑफ योरसेल्फ. दिस इज अ वेरी क्रिटिकल टाइम. यप. हे सक्षम. हाय. ओह यस प्रभात, फॉर श्योर. कोरोना का नया फीचर निकला है. ऑसम. हे योगेश्वर. हाउ आर यू डूइंग guys? Till the time we start, we will start in another 2 minutes. प्लीज लाइक द वीडियो, शेयर इट एज सुन एज पॉसिबल और सब्सक्राइब करो यार. 10,000 सब्सक्राइबर तो कर दो यार. मतलब प्लीज. हे अब्दुल्ला, आई एम सेइंग प्लीज फॉर गॉड सेक स्टार्ट लाइकिंग द वीडियो एंड एटलीस्ट 10,000 सब्सक्राइबर्स तो करा दो यार. इतनी फाइट मार के इतने लोगों को पढ़ा के. हे शिवानी, आई एम डूइंग ओके. थैंक यू वेरी मच. थैंक्स अ लॉट. हे रिया. हाय. हे अरसलान. हाउ आर यू डूइंग? Oh, Arslan is from Lahore. Very nice, Arslan. Thank you very much for coming in. Hey, Somnath. Hey, Pratik. Hey, Akash. Yep. So, lot of announcements today, but let's today try to first understand what we are going to do today, right? 1 more minute and we will quickly start. Hey, Umang. Hi. क्या चल रहा है? How are things? Who has watched till now Far From Home? किसने देख ली? Who has watched the movie Far From Home till now? You missed the books in the background. Oh yeah, Daku Daddy Gaming. Yeah, I changed place. Hey Mayank. Hi. Awesome. Badhiya. So guys, I think in the interest of time, what we'll do is quickly we will start. Yeah, Mohammed, we have to plan to do that. I haven't been able to get time to do a bunch of things. I am super busy these days, but this is something. So guys, starting off, first of all, I want all of you to like the video. Very close. Today is a very interesting lecture that we are going to do. Very simple, very basic to understand. We will not try to get into like super deep verbose this jargon shit. I don't want to go there. It has to be very simple, very easy to understand, and that's what we will do today, right? So three things I wanted to talk about. One, right? So the way that the lives will be structured going forward, mostly I will do a live every Sunday. It will be like 1 hour 15 minutes. One live will be on a conceptual topic on one Sunday, and the other live next day would be like an AMA, right? Where you can ask any questions, you feel free to ask whatever those questions are. But I would recommend, right, it has to be pertinent to the previous life, right? Other than that, the questions like, can I become a PM? Can a non-tech guy become a PM? Do I need a certain kind of background? Do I need a certain kind of skill set? All of those questions are already answered in the previous YouTube videos, for sure, right? So that is something that we will do, the first thing, right? The second thing, I think, in 2021, whoever has followed me, we have proved this point again and again, that for becoming a great product manager, the only thing that you need is a great thinking ability of defining how do you build features which improve users life. It doesn't have to do anything with an MBA. It doesn't have to do anything with a certain kind of background that you need to be from tech or etc or whatever. Even an arts background person can become a PM. I think that is something that I have consistently talked about, and I think kal agar kisi ne meri LinkedIn post dekhi hogi, we have proved it time and again that it's not needed. The only thing that I would need from you guys is consistent determination and honest effort. If you truly do that, nobody will can stop you from becoming a PM. Ravindra, please don't spam. Please don't spam. I am saying, I am trying to speak about something very critical. So that is the second thing that I am talking about. So anybody can become a product manager if you have the mindset. I have maintained and spoken about it. तो इस चीज को मान लो. अब कोई और बोले other than that, it is not right? Yes, you might ask me questions कि यार कि ISB से लोग MBA कैसे चले जाते हैं, right? The reason is because everybody in all of those curriculums, everybody in hindsight is trying to become a better thinker. They solve case studies. Product management में भी हमें case studies ही solve करनी होती है. You must have seen tear downs, etc. whatever and whatnot, right? So all of those things actually happen. So the point is that if you automatically improve your thinking ability, PM बनना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं, ठीक है? तो मैं यहाँ पे तुम्हें प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट नहीं पढ़ा रहा, मैं तुम्हें सोचना सिखा रहा हूँ. आई एम ट्राइंग टू teach you how to effectively learn and become a better thinker in general, right? Hey Priyank, lovely to see you. Awesome, man. Awesome. So the third thing that I want to tell you is, in 2022, yeah, I have put it in my heart that I want to get 500 offers, product management offers. And another thing that I want to do, at least this year, is to create certain kind of mentors, right? Because Shravan alone cannot do anything, right? कितना करूंगा यार, मैं खुद भी थक जाता हूँ. I am tired, really tired of doing all of those things, right? So I need certain people who have gone through my live sessions, who have done all of those things, and they start doing things. So I will probably pull across some people from LinkedIn who will come on the channel, so that the channel consistently delivers video, maybe in terms of shorts, maybe in terms of some sessions, maybe in terms of some AMA sessions, maybe in terms of some Q&A sessions. We will be calling speakers and whatever and whatnot, to make it as democratized as possible. Is that clear? I need a yes in the chat. और आज मेरे को बहुत engagement चाहिए. मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, तभी पढ़ाना है जब मुझे चाहिए कि तुम सब लोग शिद्दत से मेहनत करने के लिए रेडी हो. Is that correct? I need a yes in the chat. Everybody should give me a yes in the chat. Do you understand? Right? Amazing. Awesome, guys. Awesome. Acha, the third thing that I want to talk about today, in a very critical manner, right? In every session, whatever we will talk about, I want you to be focused a lot more on the why. Don't try to just believe whatever I say. Even Shravan भैया भी कुछ बोल रहे हैं ना, outrightly believe मत करो. अपना research करो, मेहनत करो and come back with pertinent questions. I will not answer questions which are already answered in the previous videos. It is a waste of time for people who are sincere and who genuinely want value. अब एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन था बिफोर वी स्टार्ट द क्वेश्चन सेशन, विच जनरली पीपल आस्क मी कि यार आपके यूट्यूब वीडियोस और आपके कोहर्ट में क्या अंतर है? What's the difference between your YouTube videos and your cohort? See, honestly speaking, the amount of value that I'm giving on YouTube is enough, is functionally enough for you to become a product manager, right? But the only difference between a cohort and a YouTube video is primarily twofold, right? The first is that in a YouTube video I have to effectively plan my time. I'm doing all of those things and I'm not able to reach out to all of you folks for some reason because of the constraint of time. मैं ऑफिस में काम भी करता हूँ, बहुत सारी चीजें, whatever it is, right? In the cohort, what happens, everything happens in a very structured way, because product management is just not a field that if Shravan is speaking about it and you will learn. You have to put effort. It is a community led structure. You have to learn from multiple people. Shravan is just one person who is trying to teach you in a simple way. So if you are truly dedicated from the bottom of your heart, even if you just look at the YouTube videos, you will be able to get a great job. There are people who have gotten job in Google, Microsoft, Mfine, multiple other companies, right? Cred, multiple companies, right? Who have just gone through the YouTube videos and they have Ola, Paytm, etc., whatever and whatnot, right? So, but the people who come in the cohort, they get a lot of my time and that's why I am charging it. So मैं मेरे कहने का ये मतलब है कि ऐसा कभी मत सोचना कि there is less value on the YouTube channel or there is more value. The only value extra that you get in the cohort is structured learning, access to me more, right? Where I can personally meet you, where I can personally talk to you, look at your journey, all of those things. And that is why I charge it at a premium. And that is, and again, मैं आपको इस चैनल पे प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट नहीं पढ़ा रहा, मैं तुम्हें जिंदगी जीना सिखा रहा हूं कि हाउ डू यू बिकम अ बेटर थिंकर इन लाइफ. सो टुमारो यू वांट टू बिकम एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, टुमारो यू वांट टू बिकम प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर्स, टुमारो you want to do anything in life. So you have that passion, you have that conviction that anything is possible. Awesome. इतना समझ में आ गया? Is that clear to all of you guys? Give me a yes. Give me a yes in the chat. और मेरे को ये नहीं चाहिए यार कि वन ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट आई वांट फ्रॉम यू गाइस इज एक लाइव में इतने लोग आते हैं, देन द नेक्स्ट लाइव पीपल डोंट कम. If you truly want to get your next product job, you have to put time and effort. If you have truly seen me and if I am a little bit of an inspiration to you guys, you see the amount of effort I put, right? Is that correct? अगर मैं इतना एफर्ट डाल सकता हूं यार और मैं लाइफ में ठीक कर रहा हूं यार, मतलब आई एम डूइंग डिसेंट इन माय लाइफ, राइट? तो यार तुम लोग तो डाल ही सकते हो यार. तुम्हें किस चीज की फाइट है? लाइक मेहनत ही तो करनी है, राइट? डज दैट मेक सेंस? ऑसम, ऑसम. तो यार आज का हमारा टॉपिक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है, राइट? नीलेश सिंह कुछ भी बन जाओ, बस शार्क टैंक पे मत जाना भाई, मुझे बुलाया ही नहीं है. So that is there. But anyways, so what I want to start off today is, yeah, we have heard a lot of these things, this thing, first principle thinking, product thinking, design thinking, right? बहुत वर्ड सुने हमने. कोई मुझे बताएगा यार इनका मतलब क्या है? What do you mean by all of these three terms? First principle thinking, product thinking and design thinking. ये तीन चीजों का ना मुझे तुमसे आंसर चाहिए. क्या है ये? मेरे को तो समझ में कभी नहीं आई. मतलब people typically say you should be a very good first principle thinker. I speak about it, right? मैं खुद भी बोलता हूँ you should be a very good product thinker. You should be a very good design thinker. But fundamentally क्या difference है यार इनमें? Right? Give me an answer, guys. Give me an answer, right? अरे डरो मत यार, गलत भी बोल दोगे तो क्या, मुझे भी बहुत नहीं आता. Honestly, I don't even know a lot of things, right? So we are trying to decipher it together, trying to understand what does it mean, right? So give me some answers on what is first principle thinking, what is product thinking, and what is design thinking. ये तीन चीजें अलग अलग जो तुमने सुनी है, whatever these words that you have heard, right? Okay. So Akash says first principle thinking is define problem before solving. Okay, fair. Okay. Madhav says breaking things into such fundamental level that it cannot be further broken. Very cool, right? Okay. With creativity, this gives us an answer of why first breaking down each problem to the core until it can't be further broken. Fair. So starting off, एक first principle का fundamental मतलब होता है, the first principle is a statement which cannot be further broken, right? Which is true at least for a significant amount of time, right? First principles भी change होते हैं, right? With time, like if we evolve, like if let's assume, I'll give you a very simple example. When human evolution took place, right, there were cells, right? Cells typically needed some amount of oxygen, not the quantity of oxygen that we need at volume, right? So at that point, the first principle was a basic set of energy that should be in a cell for survival. Now evolution happened, right, and we evolved, and a first principle can effectively be different. For me, for some other organism it can be very different, but for a significant amount of time, like ऐसा तो नहीं होगा ना कि 200 years going forward we will not need water to drink, right? So first principle, that we need water to survive, is the first principle which cannot be further broken. Very clear, very clear, right? Now why is it needed? अब मुझे ये बताओ यार, फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल थिंकिंग जान के क्या हो जाएगा, राइट? गिव मी एन आंसर ऑफ दैट यार, इंटरेक्टिव रखते हैं, राइट? फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल समझने के बाद अगर मेरे को फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल समझ भी आ गया, लेट्स अज्यूम आई अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट्स अ फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल, what value does it add, right? The value that it truly adds is that any first principle is like the base of a building, right? If that is a statement that you take as a construct to design any solution in life, in general that will be right, like I have given multiple examples in my life, but I'll give you another example the same way, right? Tomorrow if I give you are going to a 5-star hotel, and I give you an example to live in a presidential suite and a normal storeroom, where will you stay? If you go to a 5-star hotel and I tell you that you can live in a presidential suite or you can live in a normal storeroom, where will you stay? Right? I've asked a question that if I ask you that tomorrow you're going to a 5-star hotel and you get an answer to live in the best room and an average room, where will you in general stay? Assume that price is not a constraint. Assume that price is not a constraint. सोमनाथ, क्या भाई तू इतना हम्बल आदमी है क्या कि नॉर्मल स्टोर रूम में रहेगा? awesome. ठीक है. So that is where you figured out that anything that is adding value to your life in some way, maybe comfort, maybe happiness, maybe whatever it is, right, it adds a certain amount of happiness quotient. Like anything that adds value to your life is adding some certain amount of happiness quotient to your life. You would want to replicate that experience, right, in general, right? Let's, like another example I give you, if let's assume you get a hike every month, right? So which you are getting richer every month, so you would want to replicate that behavior. Anything that adds value to your life should eventually add happiness to your life. That's a first principle. And if that first principle exists in every product, right, so in general the product will be useful. Is that clear? Let me give you another very simple example. Think when Uber started off with one model, right, which is basically taking a car from A place to B place. Why do you think they launched other models? I'm asking a very simple question. Why do you think Uber launched Auto or whatever the third variant, which is better than Uber X, whatever and whatnot? Why do you think they launched other models, right? Because there were different set of users जिनकी different set of expectations थी, और हर एक के लिए value is defined in a different way. For somebody price is a constraint, for somebody comfort is a constraint, for somebody it is the accessibility which is a constraint. Basically what it means, like let's assume you are in a place where everything is crowded, even an auto works, right? They want to cover all segments, absolutely. So fundamentally they are trying to provide value to every segment. But ये कहाँ से आया? Why did they think of this, right? Not only just to taking care of the market, but they realized that different users in the market have different kinds of value propositions. Absolutely. And सबके लिए value different है. So they wanted to provide value. So they came from a very fundamental first principle that in the transportation industry, there might be value definitions which are different to different segments. Very clear? Everybody aligned till now? A, B, C, D, whatever it is. यहाँ तक बात समझ में आई? Is that clear to you guys? That awesome. Now, अब ये फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल थिंकिंग तो हो गई. अब नेक्स्ट आते हैं कि तो हमें ये समझ में आ गया कि एनीथिंग दैट कैन बी डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम अ फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल इज शुड बी इन जनरल एड वैल्यू टू पीपल्स लाइफ. सो फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल इज समथिंग दैट वी लुक एट एज अ बेसलाइन. trying to understand that if we keep this at the center of it, right, we will be able to design good products for sure. Now the second part is product thinking. अब product thinking क्या है? Guys, I need answers. What is product thinking? तब तक मैं थोड़ी green tea पी लेता हूँ. What is product thinking? बताओ बताओ बताओ, जल्दी से बताओ. What is product thinking, guys? बताओ बताओ बताओ. Juhi says product orientation, significant of first principle, we can build anything in the organic way. ठीक है, problem solving. No. So देखो, product thinking कहाँ से आता है? Product और thinking, correct? Product and thinking, right? So what I mean by that is, अब product के लिए तुम think क्यों करोगे? Product का मतलब क्या होता है? What is a product fundamentally? It's a वस्तु, right? Product in Hindi means vastu. Vastu basically means any vastu in your life will not exist for no reason, right? Stones exist in your life because you can use them to build a building, as simple as that, right? Any vastu, a cycle exists in your life, it takes you from one place to another, right? So product thinking is basically the mindset of basically defining a product through which leveraging a product to add significant value in a person's life. Product thinking is nothing but a thinking paradigm in which we, while leveraging or building a product, effectively take the user to a point where it adds some amount of value to your life. Like, I'll give you a simple example, very, very simple example. When go back 15-20 years, right? The fastest way to do a flight ticket कैसे करते थे? You used to go to an agent. How many of you used to go to an agent to do a flight ticket? मम्मी पापा तो जाते ही होंगे ना यार, इतना तो मेरे मम्मी पापा तो जाते थे for sure. To do a flight ticket, you used to go to an agent, right? Now somebody thought of that, यार, can there be an online structure? Can there, और product का सिर्फ ये मतलब नहीं होता online products, anything which is physical or manifested in the form of internet or as an online product which truly adds value to your life, that is something which you call as a great product. But that thinking paradigm, that how do I design such a product which adds value to people's life, is product thinking, right? Like designing a bathroom for the blind, designing a camera for the elderly, designing a better experience, like Lenskart. Like if you go like 7-8 years back, Lenskart had this very fundamental problem that जब भी तुम एक चश्मा लेते हो, जब मेरे को चश्मा खरीदना है, मेरे को ये देखना है यार कि how do I look in that spectacle, right? So they actually built a feature in which we can effectively see my own face and in 90% proportions figure out that how will I look. Does that correct? So they leveraged a certain portion of the thinking to build a certain feature which effectively gave you a very good experience to understand how does a chashma, how does a glass look on your face. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Right? So similarly, when you had to do a train ticket, somebody thought of that, why don't I leverage, or a plane ticket, why don't I leverage the internet and eventually go on the and build a product in which you can put from, to, etc. And effectively you will be able to do this. So that was the concept. That was the fundamental concept. Ki, can I build an experience through which the same experience of booking a plane ticket can be done in a 10x better way? And that thinking is called product thinking at a conceptual level. So we are talking about very concept. So kahan se aayi? First we looked at a first principle which realized कि यार ये first principle क्या होना चाहिए जिससे लोगों को value मिलती है, right? The first principle was somebody to be able to book the best transportation or the flight ticket experience so that he or she can travel from one place to another. If that can be done, right, how do we do that using a product is the layer on top of it, which is called product thinking, right? Now a product thinking bhi samajh mein aa gaya ki it's a conceptual thinking paradigm that a product, how do you build a product which eventually adds 10x value to people's life. Is that clear, guys? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Yahan tak baat samajh mein aayi? Is that clear? I need a yes or a no. No, Sarthak, it is about first principle thinking is identifying what is a first principle which is in the problem space, which can add value to people's life. Product thinking is how do we leverage that first principle and build a product at a conceptual level which can add that value. अब तीसरी बात है, what's the third thing? What is design thinking? Right? ये दोनों तो समझ में आ गई. This is clear till now, right? What is design thinking? Right? Guys, answers. What is design thinking? What is design thinking? जल्दी बताओ. मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है वो स्कूल में टीचर नहीं होता जो टीचर तुम्हें डंडे मार रहा होता है, कह रहा था बच्चे बताओ, जल्दी बताओ. Okay. Okay. So I told you first principle thinking is identifying the core, the why, what makes valuable, what makes things valuable. Product thinking is understanding that why and building a product which delivers that conceptual or conceptualizing that experience which will deliver value. Design thinking is a layer on top of product thinking, right? Design thinking basically means how do I build such an experience in design that that value is in the most simplest form understood. Like I'll give you a very simple, very simple example. इसमें इतना कंफ्यूज होने की बात नहीं है. सबसे नीचे आती है फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल थिंकिंग, अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट एड्स वैल्यू टू पीपल्स लाइफ. ठीक है. Once we understand that first principle, the next layer on top is product thinking, right? Which is basically taking that first principle and putting that in your concept on in a thinking paradigm and building a product which actually delivers the 10x experience. Now this is at a conceptual level. Now from a conceptual level, once we move to the implementation level, we move to this layer called design thinking. What I mean by design thinking is how do you build such an easy design that a person doesn't even take 10 seconds or 15 seconds or 20 seconds to understand that this is the value of the product. Right? Like very simply, let's assume you went to cleartrip.com or makemytrip.com or ixigo.com and it took you 40 minutes to figure out how to do a plane ticket. Will you stop there? In spite of the fact the value is same, you can get a flight ticket at the cheapest possible price in the best in all different kinds of flights, be it Indigo, etc. The product value is the same, right? But let's assume that value remains the same, but the design on top of it is such that it takes you 40 minutes to discover that. Will you use it? Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. Exactly, right? So design thinking is a layer that product, the value of the product, how quickly it is getting accessed to the end user. How do I build such a design which is so usable, which is so simple, so that you fundamentally are able to understand the value of the product in a very simple way. बात समझ में आ गई? So design thinking is an implementation layer, right? All three are different. First principle is why. Product thinking is how do I use my thinking on that why to design a concept which makes sense, which adds value to people's life. Design thinking is an implementation layer. How do I build such a design which effectively allows the user to access that value as quickly as possible, right? Meenakshi, is that clear to you or should I repeat it again? Guys, is that clear to you? सब लोग no लिख रहे हैं. हाँ, oh, yeah, okay, it is for no. Is that clear? What first principle thinking, what product thinking and what design thinking is? ये बात clear हो गई सबको? Is there any doubt around it anymore? Is that there is no doubt? I want yeses in the chat if everything is clear. ये तीनों अलग अलग क्या चीजें हैं? These are three different things, right? Now, why is design thinking important? Right? I have, if okay, Saurabh, I'll repeat one more time. I'll repeat for guys. First principle thinking is identifying the why. That why does something add value as a first principle in people's life? Clear? Product thinking is leveraging that why and building a concept which will help you build a product to effectively provide that value. Right? Design thinking is now you've understood what the value is and what your product should do. Lekin you have to deliver that value also now in the simplest possible manner. So how do you build such a design which can deliver the value in a very simple way? In a very simple way. Vaibhav, we will talk about feasibility in a different. That's an implementation problem. We'll talk about it later, right? कि कैसे करेंगे? Implementation is secondary structure. But is that clear to guys? ये तीनों का क्या मतलब होता है? Is that clear? Awesome. Now what I'll do is, now I want to ask you, what if you might have referred to my previous videos. I have talked about three fundamental layers of a great product, right? First is significant value based differentiation. If there is no significant differentiation in a product, eventually the product will be either mature or decline. Like, I'll give you a very simple. Why do you think Apple consistently keeps innovating? I know आजकल तो नहीं करते, but overall, why do you think they consistently keep innovating? Give me answers, guys. Give me answers, guys. Why do you think so? Like, I'll give you a simple example. In 2008, when Steve Jobs launched iPhone, what was the innovation? The innovation was you don't need buttons. Everything can be done from a touch interface. That was unprecedented. So they moved 10x better than the previous experience of you using a Nokia or a BlackBerry or whatever it is, right? That is one, right? Now in 2016, what they did? They introduced fingerprint scanner. जब उन्होंने बनाया फिर सबने सब बनाने लग गए. So they realized initially they had a 10x difference, right? But slowly and steadily the difference came. Again, like वो minimize होने लग गया. Everybody starting making fingerprint scanners, right? Then the third thing, what did they? They built a face scanner, right? That was again an innovation, unprecedented, right? That was again 10x better. That's why they were again the market leaders, right? But फिर सब वही बनाने लग गए, right? So slowly and steadily what will happen is you might come up with a lateral idea which gives you a 10x better value, right? But what will happen is the market will start catching up, right? When Uber had started, oh, it was revolutionary, it was disruptive, right? Because the previous experience was like somebody taking a taxi and actually haggling with a guy. But slowly and steadily, what happened when other players started coming in, Lyft coming in, Ola coming in, multiple other models coming in, slowly and steadily, the value started dissipating and the game of discounts came. Very simply, right? So the point is that the first variable or the first ethic of a great product is there should always be significant value-based differentiation, and value changes over time. So that's why product managers consistently rack their brains on what is the next big bet that I can think of from a first principle standpoint and build something which can be of value so that I can be 10x better. That's why my product will have insane high retention, that people will come to me. I am giving a better experience. Yahan tak baat samajh mein aayi? The first point. Is that clear? Give me a yes in the chat, guys. Give me a yes in the chat. I need a yes in the chat key. Why do product managers consistently keep looking for great features which can always provide a better value, right? Because slowly and steadily, if other people, agar tumhe ye samajh mein aa jata hai yaar, if all of you understand that this thing is adding value and you want to start a business, everybody will want to do that, right? It's as simple as that. Right? Slowly, pehle wo disruptive hoga. It will be disruptive. Nobody is doing it. But when people realize, oh wow, it's adding value, so everybody will do it. So that's the reason you have to consistently innovate. Product management is not a thing तुमने एक चीज बना दी और वो जिंदगी भर चलेगी. Doesn't work like that. Right? You have to consistently innovate to effectively be somebody which is relevant over the period of time. That's the first ethic. The second is simplicity of usage. यहाँ पे आता है design thinking, right? If something is not very simple to use, right? You all are internet users. तुम तो तब भी use करते हो. तुम्हें पता है YouTube पे कैसे आना है, etc., etc. But let's assume you're building for the larger population who are not internet savvy users, right? If they tomorrow go to today, also my father, when he goes to Flipkart, it is not very easy for him to effectively decide which product he wants to buy. It's not very easy. He's still not very comfortable using LinkedIn. LinkedIn to wo mere liye aate hain, right? He doesn't know what's the value prop, right? Or so the point that I'm trying to put across is the second part is how simply a product can fundamentally say that this is the value I'm giving you. Like A very simple example. कभी ये सोचा है गूगल मैप्स का इंटरफेस मैप्स जैसा ही क्यों है? Why is it like maps? There were many other structures that you can come up with. It can be a traditional list that you search for an area, you click there and it takes you on a map. Why does the first thing in Google Maps is that what is your location and what are the things, and in a map format? Because people should understand it is about discovery of a place in a geographical area. Does that correct? Yes. So people, just by looking at the product, they figure out, अरे यार इसका मतलब है यार कि I can figure out where I have to go and I can find out the route. Very simply, as simple as that. That's the second thing that you do. The third thing that is extremely critical, which is not there in current products, is the joy of usage. What I mean by joy of usage, if you look it in the product pyramid, right? प्रोडक्ट पिरामिड के ऊपर क्या होता है? सबसे ऊपर कौन से प्रोडक्ट्स होते हैं? विच आर द प्रोडक्ट्स? सो थिंक ऑफ अ प्रोडक्ट पिरामिड लाइक दिस. इन द टॉप देयर इज दिस वन प्रोडक्ट विच आर एंटरटेनमेंट प्रोडक्ट्स विच यू यूज लाइक इंस्टाग्राम, लाइक टिकटॉक एटसेट्रा. मैं तो बहुत देखता था यार, मतलब आई हैव बीन अ टिकटॉक फैन. आई एम गिल्टी ऑफ दैट प्लेजर. आई एम सॉरी एंड आई एम प्रीटी श्योर यहाँ पे जितने भी सिंगल लॉन्डे हैं वो सब ये सब काम करते होंगे फॉर श्योर. सो टिकटॉक, सो द टॉप लेयर इज एंटरटेनमेंट प्रोडक्ट्स. Does that make sense? Right? So entertainment products is something that doesn't add any tangible value, but adds value in more like joy of usage. That's so Madhav, I will talk about that. How do you incorporate joy of usage in other products? But I'll talk about in general, the top layer is entertainment products. What is the bottom layer of the pyramid, which is dense, which is huge in its use case? It's need-based products. What I mean by need-based products is like transactional products like Google Pay, like Phone Pay. That's why the volume of transactions, tabhi you must have heard these reports that UPI transactions are scaling like crazy, right? They're doing this many billion in this year. Every month they are going 40-50%, etc., etc. How many of you have heard those reports? Right? They're growing like crazy. These are need-based services. Do you ever go to Google Pay and say आज तो मैं Google Pay इसलिए जाऊंगा क्योंकि मुझे मजे करने हैं? नहीं होता ना ऐसा. Doesn't work like that, right? Now these two products have a different outcome structure. But how does Google or a company like PhonePe ensure that your next time, that whenever you think of that use case, you actually come to my platform? You don't come to Bharat Pay or Phone Pay or etc. and whatever and whatnot. So they try to effectively make the experience better in terms of utility of the product. Like you go there, you feel like a game. You feel like, oh, I'm enjoying the transaction process. Oh, there is a very good chance that I might win a certain structure. So rewards come as a structure or gaming structures built in the app. You must have realized. How many of you remember that Google had started that thing that you run the wheel and there is a chance that you actually win? Right? So they start building the product in such a way that the product layer is different from the service layer. ये बात समझ में आई? The product layer is different from the service layer. Right? What I mean by a product layer and a service layer is, एक मिनट यार मैं थोड़ा ग्रीन टी पी लेता हूं. Yes. Product layer basically means the layer in which the product is used. A simple example I will give you is like playing a game, a sport. Think of football, right? The person who is playing with the ball is actually enjoying because he likes football, right? But what's the goal? The goal is to effectively do a goal and win the game. Does that make sense? Right? So the service basically means in Google Pay means of doing a transaction. But the process of going into Google Pay, figuring out how to do a transaction, do all of those things together, that's the product layer. 99% of the products will have similar use cases because as individuals, we have very similar use cases in life. Everybody wants to have food, everybody wants to travel, everybody wants to do transactions, everybody wants to purchase clothes, everybody wants to do all of those things, right? So those similar utility is very simple, very same, right? But fundamentally, how you deliver that experience is also a key differentiator. So आज एक और myth break करते हैं. It doesn't need to have a different idea to be a successful startup or a successful product. It is also how you deliver that idea to your customers. That is why it can be successful. Like, I'll give you a simple example. Me teaching you, right? There are 110 users in the live, right? Everybody wants to get taught ki what is design thinking, what is product thinking, etc. ये सारा content तो internet पे भी available है यार. Is it not? मतलब क्या मैं कुछ अलग बता रहा हूँ क्या? Right? But the way I am delivering, right? That might be a differentiation. Is that correct? I need a yes or no in the chat. I will stop now. I will give you 2 minutes to ask any questions, and then we will move towards the PPT. That we will cover some slides today. ठीक है, हम वो कवर करेंगे और slowly and steadily आगे भी चलेंगे. ठीक है, I will stop now. Please ask any questions if you have for 2 minutes. मजा आ रहा है guys? Are you enjoying? Okay. So do PMs need to be proficient in design tools? यार design आना चाहिए, मतलब अच्छी चीज है वो. It's a good thing. It's not just about PMs. It's in general that you should be good in design. You should really enjoy it. Awesome. ठीक है. So next thing what we'll do is I'll quickly share my screen, guys, and you let me know अगर मेरी slide दिख रही है. If you're able to see design thinking and UX for PMs. Are you able to see the screen, guys? Give me a yes in the chat. Thank you, Muskan. Awesome. Thank you, Juhi. तो यार देखो, अब we talked about, so today we are going to talk about the design layer. We have not talked about the product thinking layer. We will do another session over it, but we are talking about a design layer. So what makes a great UX, right? What truly makes an UX का मतलब खाली UI UX के point of view से नहीं समझना. UX basically means what makes a great user experience, right? A great user experience starts with that when it feels very easy to use. Did I not tell you that it is effortless to find what you're looking for and figure out what's next? You don't even notice the user interface and are able to focus on accomplishing the task, right? Yes, very true, Mayank. Service layer can be the same, but product layer can be the differentiator. Very clear. So a great UX is in which it doesn't even feel that you have to put an effort, right? It's like in Uber, you open the app, the first thing that you see, kahan se kahan jana hai. As simple as that. It doesn't even take that simple. UI and UX, Akash, again, all of these questions are functionally answered in other topics. We will talk about it, but today we are talking about what makes a great UX. A great UX mein, jis UX mein, if a person needs a lot of time to figure out where is the value, that is not a great UX. So there is a very nice book called Flow by Michel Rashowski. There is a very famous writer. He told that a great UX is such that it takes the user in a state of flow where you're completely immersed in the product, right? And you're able to figure out, right? Now, let me ask you a very simple question. Okay. Which products do you think currently have a great UX? According to you, I need some answers. It is the same even for B2B products. Juhi, even in B2B products, we are moving towards simplifying the interface. This is what Intercom did. Intercom is not a chatbot, right? It's a horizontal service layer, right? So I want to understand which is a great use. WhatsApp, very true, very good, awesome. Swiggy, I can't say. Yes, to a certain extent, bilkul. So how do you design? Pehli cheez, my question is, all of you are writing this. How do you first अपने आप से ये सवाल पूछो, ask yourself this question, that why do you think they have a great UX? Be very honest about this. How do you say that fundamentally, we have just talked about this in a very fundamental manner, that there is a product value proposition which should be very easy to understand, right? That is what a great UX. So WhatsApp, the first thing that you see is you can send a message. As simple as that. You open, you see a list of contacts, you send it across. Yes. So if your fundamental task, which you came into the product for, to basically communicate with someone, if that is achieved in an easy manner, that's a great UX. Very clear, right? So that means your fundamental value proposition is achieved, and the person who is coming on the app for even for the first time is able to figure out that this is what I can do on the app without even looking into the UI, etc., whatever and whatnot, right? So, itni baat samajh mein aa gayi? Is this clear to you guys? I need a yes in the chat, right? I need a yes in the chat. Ki a great UX is only defined when a person or a user is effectively coming on the platform, and even if he is the new user, with very, very simplicity, he's able to understand that this is the task that I can achieve, right? As simple as that, right? WhatsApp पे जाते हो जाता है, ठीक है? ओला पे जाते हो समझ में आ जाता है, Uber पे जाते हो समझ में आ जाता है. Very cool, right? Now let's break this down into components, right? What do you define? How do you define a great UX? The first component that we look at is called usability, right? If a product, what percentage of users are able to successfully complete each task which the PM wants to them to deliver, right? The first key attribute of a great UX is usability, which indicates how easy it is for customers to use the product. What percentage of users are able to successfully complete each task, which is the fundamental value proposition of the product. So a great UX or a great design functionally should have a very high usability coefficient, right? Like, I'll be very honest with you, I never liked Zomato. Very cluttered, right? Hard to figure out that where should I go, where should I search and figure out and do an order, right? Slowly and steadily that they have tried to move towards, obviously, right? So usability is the first component, right? Okay, a great UX, Akash, according to not me, in general, fundamentally means if there is a fundamental value proposition of the product, like Grow allows you people to invest, right? A person coming on the app, if it truly has a great usability experience, should be able to understand that how he can do investing in the first 1 minute, 2 minutes, or understand the core task. As simple as that, right? That's what I'm. So there's huge cognitive overload if I'm not able to. If the value proposition of the product is to do an order, right, by putting 100 things on the app, if that value proposition is getting diluted, चाहे वो कितना ही सुंदर दिख रहा है ऐप यार, मतलब however beautiful it is, it's not a great UX. It's truly not, right? Because I want it to be as simple as possible, and that's why there are multiple types of design patterns that are coming out. Material design, can we incorporate multiple use cases in a single app? We can do bunch of things around it, but fundamentally the value proposition is that अगर मेरे को पता है कि मैं Swiggy, I have heard of Swiggy as an app where I can order food, the core value proposition is that in the first 2 minutes I should figure out how do I order food. As simple as that. Okay? So usability is the first component, which means percentage of users successfully able to complete each task, what is relevant for the product as a value proposition or business as a value proposition, is usability. A great UX should have very high usability, right? Beyond the successful completion of tasks, usability also includes efficiency. That's just I talked about. If customers are able to figure out how to use a feature, but it takes too many steps or takes too long, that also results in poor usability, right? Efficiency is also measured by accessing effort, right? Exactly. So, Khali, it's not just about completion of a task. It's also about how quickly do you complete that task. If it takes too many steps, right, to complete a task, you're screwed, right? So again, first component, usability. Yahan tak baat samajh mein aayi? Am I clear to you guys? Give me a yes. As simple as that. Give me a yes. I need a yes in the chat. Is this clear to you guys? Awesome. Nikhil has said yes. और भी बताओ यार, जनता और समझ में आ रहा नहीं आ रहा? ठीक है. Okay, awesome. Now, even perceived effort is also an attribute as cognitive load. So you all talked about cognitive load. Let's assume I'll give you let me ask you a question to you guys, right? अभी मैं थोड़ा इसको हटाता हूँ and I am asking you a question to you guys, ठीक है? Let's assume the steps taken to book an order in Swiggy are only 3. You click on the page, you click on the then basically the thing, the dish that you want to buy, and you do a payment, right? That's only 3. But on the home page, there are 15 banners, right? 15, 20 banners. The steps are 3. Page 1, page 2, page 3. From an information architecture standpoint, कि 3 ही step है. लेकिन the first home page from where the discovery happens, right? There it has 20 banners like this, like new products promoted, new categories launched, etc. A, B, C, D, right? Ideally, in terms of usability, right, it is only 3 clicks, still 3 clicks, but it is also a poorly usable experience. Yes. So perceived effort when you look at a page, because you as a user are consuming information, right? And at any point of time, there is limited information that you can decipher, right? So if a page is also cluttered, right, you are not able to visually focus on the task which is needed, right? So that is something that is called as cognitive overload. Do you understand, guys, what I mean by cognitive overload? Right? There might be only 3 steps only. Page 1, restaurant. Page 2, dish. Page 3, purchase. Okay? But if the page 1 has like 20 elements on the page, right? Like multiple apps do. A lot of apps do that, right? Right. Somnath, again, if there are only 3 steps, page 1, you come to Swiggy app where you see the list of restaurants. Page 2, the dish that you want in the restaurant. Page 3, to purchase that dish, right? Now, but on the page 1, one scenario is a very simple, sleek looking restaurant structure, figuring out page, discovery page. Another example, multiple banners, right? This is launch, this is launch, this is new thing, this is new thing, this is not need, this, etc. Right? One page is less cluttered, another page is extremely cluttered with a lot of real estates. Now, at any point of time, I want my user to make the purchase decision. That's my core decision, right? If that decision is not functionally done in the right possible way, or it makes it difficult even in terms of making that choice, right, that is called cognitive overload. Is that clear to you guys? Yes. So law of usability क्या बताता है हमें? What is the more user effort required to take an action, the lower the percentage of users who will take that action. The less effort required, the higher number of users will take that action. What is law of usability? The more user effort, even from a perceived effort scenario, if it takes less, the more user effort, the less percentage of users will effectively take that action, right? The less effort, the higher number of users will actually take that action, right? Now the second part is delight, right? Now usability और delight में क्या difference है यार? थोड़ा बताओ, बताओ जल्दी बताओ. Usability और delight में क्या मतलब होता है? What is the difference? What do you understand from this word usability and delight? I talked about usability. What is delight? What is delight? बताओ जल्दी बताओ. What is delight? One is usability. We talked about usability, how simplistically you can do it. What is delight? Okay. Okay. So let me put it this way. Okay. देखो, usability means anybody should be able to complete a task, right? Delight truly asks this question: do your customers really enjoy the product, enjoy using it? Like a very simple example, how many of you use Yahoo Mail या Rediff Mail अभी भी? सच बताना. देखो, the people who are using it as a fake account and chatting across on Instagram, trust me, I will figure it out. ठीक है, तो सच सच बताओ, which users are fundamentally still using Rediff mail? Tell me honestly. निखिल तो पक्का करता होगा 100%. इसने सबसे पहले लिखा है नो नॉट एट ऑल. 100% यही करता होगा. बढ़िया, ठीक है. So I think, so what I'm trying to put across is Gmail or Rediff mail या superhuman, right? फंडामेंटली यूजेबिलिटी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से तीनों सेम काम करते हैं. फंडामेंटली यूजेबिलिटी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर, right? But from a delight point of view, whenever you use open Gmail, right, when you write something like hi and Shravan automatically comes, wow, you see यार इसको मेरा नाम कैसे पता चला, right? How? Yeah, like hope you are, you just write hope you are, and they write doing great. That's an element of enjoyability, that mera kaam, not only I want to do that task, and that is something that comes from a usability point of view, but they're even simplifying my experience and really enjoying the fact that the product itself is helping me to achieve that task. Ek jagah pe you have made the product as a passive product and simplified the steps. The other part is the product is actively doing experiences for you, which you feel, oh, the product is eventually phasing and helping us across to achieve that task in a very simple manner, and I really love it, right? So usability is a great pillar of a great UX, but delight is equally important, that a lot of PMs focus on, right? So delight basically means usability answers the question, can user use the product? Delight answers the question, do customers enjoy using their product? Difference समझ में आया? Usability answers the question, can users use the product, right? Delight answers the question, do customers enjoy using the product? Awesome, right? So the fourth thing that we talk about is simplicity helps some user deliver delight. Less is often more in UX. Eliminating visual clutter reduces cognitive load and helps the user focus on what's important. Think of a minimalistic design of Google homepage. Imagine, यार, आज भी Google homepage पे सिर्फ एक ही चीज आती है, what do you want to search for? Right? How simple is that? So lot of times delight or usability का coefficient कहां से आता है? Simplicity. That's why Apple talks about that, why building simple products is difficult. Using a simple interface to deliver a product value proposition is hard, right? Like, I'll give you a very simple example of delight. When Apple started, the notification sound of Apple is so distinct that it creates delight. That even if, so tell me honestly, like you are in a group of friends, right? And you achanak say you hear that notification sound of Apple, right? Do you not automatically recognize that this is coming from an iPhone? Be very honest about it, right? You are in a group of friends, you don't know who has an iPhone, but that sound comes, ting ting, that sound that is very unique to Apple. Do you not automatically figure this out, that this is an iPhone? That there is somebody has an iPhone, right? That's a delight coefficient. That's a delight coefficient that they automatically symbolizes that anybody can figure out that it's an iPhone, right? In spite of the fact you might not even know, right? So that is a very interesting thing. Another interesting thing that I'll tell you, which happens in companies, in a lot of indirect sales companies, these companies, like, I'll give you a very simple example. Paytm ने वो speaker क्यों निकाला है? Let me ask you a very simple example. Why does the Paytm has come out with a speaker? Right? Why does the Paytm has come out with a speaker? The one element is to tell users that this much amount money has come. But what is the other element? Paytm Pay, ऐसे करके बोल, that itself tells that there is a transaction that has happened. Right? When it speaks out, Paytm Pay, the one point is to get the count of money, right? But this sound, Paytm Pay, it automatically tells that some transaction has happened. That's a delight coefficient. Do you understand that? That is what exactly they have done. That's a delight part. right? Instant, exactly. It's the instant acknowledgement of transaction. Brand recall, absolutely. But the other part is, I know that this is the amount of money that has come, right? ठीक है. So what we will do is, थोड़ा सा ना मैं आगे आपको, I will not, I have skipped 2 slides, we will cover that in the next session, but I want to talk about some very basic things in the next 5-10 minutes, and we will talk about that in the next session of this, क्योंकि एक घंटे का ही रखेंगे यार. I think that will be simple for you to even understand. A fundamental great design has 4 layers, right? We always look at the visual layer, जो हम visual design बोलते हैं जिसको, but उसके नीचे 3 other layers होती हैं. The bottomest layer is called conceptual design, right? A fundamental design for the value proposition of a product has 4 layers, right? The bottom layer, the layer which is, it is like an iceberg, right? In an iceberg you only see the top value. तभी तो टाइटैनिक डूब गई थी भाई, आइसबर्ग में उनको ऊपर वाला ही दिख रहा था खाली. उनको ये रियलाइज नहीं हुआ कि नीचे भाई हालत बहुत बुरी है. But whatever, right? So in that aspect, right, there are 4 layers. The bottomest layer is called conceptual design, and conceptual design basically means that what is the core concept you are using to design your product, right? Ideally your conceptual model should resonate of how your target customers think, how your target customers think. When you go to Make My Trip as a website, you are already thinking of from where I should go to where I have to go, on what date I need to go. You're not thinking of price. Do you realize this? ध्यान से सोचो इस चीज को. When you go to makemytrip.com, no, conceptual design basically means what concept is functionally utilized or in the mind of the user while he's trying to take a decision, right? बट उसके ऊपर फिर इंफॉर्मेशन आर्किटेक्चर होता है, इंटरेक्शन डिजाइन होता है, विजुअल डिजाइन होता है, बहुत सारी चीजें होती है. विल टॉक अबाउट इट टुडे वी आर जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट कॉन्सेप्चुअल डिजाइन. में ये सोच के जाओ, व्हेनेवर यू थिंक ऑफ गोइंग फ्रॉम दिल्ली टू बैंगलोर और बैंगलोर टू दिल्ली, राइट, डू यू गाइज एवर हैव प्राइस इन माइंड? होता है कि बहुत एक्सपेंसिव नहीं होना चाहिए, बट डू यू हैव अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन योर हेड कि यार कि ये तो 4,000 की टिकट मिलनी चाहिए या जो 8,000 की टिकट मिलनी चाहिए? You always, the thing that you have in mind is from to how many people and specifically what date. Is that correct? फिर price तो it's a next decision. That is the reason, as a concept, the first page doesn't show you price range. How many of, नहीं तो Make My Trip can very well put a price range also as a filter. It comes as the second page. When you click on search, it comes after that, right, as a price filter. But why have they not put it on the home page? Because when you're conceptually thinking about it, right, you're not thinking about price comes when you see the price. जब तुम देखते हो अरे there are 7 flights, one is 7,000, one is 8,000, then you look at the price. Is that correct? ये बात समझ में आई? Yes or no, right? Give me a yes or no. Whenever you go to Make My Trip or when you plan a trip, right, unless and until it's an expensive trip, like something like going to foreign, etc., if it's a frequent trip, which is like a domestic trip, there are only 4 elements as a concept in your head: from, to, how many user, how many people, what date. Correct? Now once you reach the next page, right, then you see a list of prices and then price becomes a factor in your head. But that is the reason they never on the first page gave you a filter of price. Very simply. So as a conceptual design, right, they thought this is what you need to effectively design a concept of value, right? That's the first layer that comes across, right? उसके ऊपर होती है information architecture, right? The next thing is information architecture. Information architecture is positioning of that particular information on the page, that how one page would tie to another page and how information will be shown on the page, right? Let's assume you go to Clear Trip and from to is shown in the bottom of the page. Nikhil, I agree. I understand that, but 99% of the time you already have a plan in your head that यार कि ठीक है प्राइस इतना होना चाहिए, बट तुम वो डिसीजन कभी वैसे नहीं बनाते हो. यू ऑलवेज स्टार्ट थिंकिंग ऑन द लाइंस कि अगर तुम तभी तो तुम एक महीना पहले, यू गो 1 month बैक, यू नो दैट मोटा मोटा इट विल कॉस्ट मी 3-4 thousand, right? But let's assume there is something that you need to plan for. Functionally you need to plan for. What you will do is, if it's price sensitive, then you will plan way ahead, right? If it, in general, when I want to do a trip, I'll just go. I have a sense of that this should be the price. I only look at कि उस डेट पे मुझे फ्लाइट अपने टाइम पे मिल जाएगी कि नहीं मिलेगी, right? For 2%, 4% users, price might be a concern, but in general, people have an understanding of it. When they start looking at it, it's a domestic trip, it will cost me in this range. As simple as that. So I just have to look whether I'm getting the right flight or not. The smart play is not. The smart play is the easy decision making. But anyways, Nikhil, we'll talk about it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me on LinkedIn. But abhi hum cover karte hain topic because we are already over time, right? The next part is the information architecture. How do you position information on the page and across the application, right? Now, I am giving you a very simple example of information architecture, as simple as that if let's assume ClearTrip showed the same thing at the bottom of the first page, will you be able to figure out ki from to kahan dalna hai, right? Let's assume instead of showcasing in the top, right, the first fold, right, you show it in the bottom fold, right? A very simple example. So information architecture is something that how do you position information so that it is functionally understandable for you to consume that information in a structured manner, right? Like for example, if you go to Amazon, on top you fundamentally see that there are different categories on top of it, and you figure out ki, okay, if I have to go to electronics, this is the category I need to click on. If I need to go to fashion, this is where I want to put on. If I want to go to maybe home decor, I have to click there, right? So fundamentally, information architecture is how do you position the information on the page beyond the conceptual design, right? So that the conceptual thought that is there in your head, like another very simple example, Google Maps ऐसा भी तो कर सकता था कि यार it would have always opened up a map of India and not shown your own location. Why does it show your own location? As simple as that. The reason is because from an information architecture, that's your reference point, right? That this, I want to go from here to there. Conceptual design was the map-like interface. Here, it tells me to move from one place to another. As simple as that, right? Because a lot of people try to see that what is the distance from A to B and they're not at that place. But the fundamental homepage is always where you are, right? Because that's a reference point that you make from an information point of view, that in general, that I want to travel from this place to that, and that is how you want to design the information architecture of Google Maps in general. Is that clear to you guys? Give me yes or no. Give me a yes or no. Is that clear to you guys? Give me a yes or no, guys. Guys, please. Awesome. ठीक है. Third thing is something that we call as interaction design. Interaction design is among that information architecture, what are the things, what are the interactions, how they will take place, right? What is the interaction coefficient? Like what I mean by that is, let's assume you click on a button, what is the interaction, what kind of interaction type it will take, right? Now that is also very, very important, because interactions also design how your experience will be. Like I'll give you a very simple example. If you click on a button and it is more like a text box, for example, let's assume it's a text box, right? It's a hard cognitive surface on which you have to write something, right? But if it's a drop down, you can easily select. As simple as that. You can easily select most of the things, right? So the third part is the interaction design, that what are the interactions that happen on the page, how that interactions will actually occur, right? Like if I click on, like if you remember, Amazon always had this thing that you have to do payment on the checkout page, but on the second page itself they effectively brought a payment option, and payment niche se aa jata hai and you just have to say yes, right? So that's an interaction part that you just have to scroll and the payment will happen. So how that interaction basically drives delight is something that you call as interaction design. And the last part is the visual design, which you call as UI. कि कितना अच्छा लग रहा है यार, देखने में कितना अच्छा लग रहा है, am I really enjoying it or not, is it aesthetically beautiful or not, right? So there are 4 layers. Conceptual design is what the concept in the head of the user should be. For maps, the concept is looking like a map. For Uber, the concept is moving from one place to another. So from and to becomes relevant for any transportation apps. For Swiggy, it is about discovery of a dish, right? That's why you see that Swiggy effectively starts putting out restaurants with dishes, right? This is the new dishes, right? The second is information architecture, yeah, information design. That how do you show that information? Third is interaction design. After you have shown that information, what will happen if you will click on a button, and what kind of interaction will take place, so that it is easy for you to understand that that interaction makes sense. And the fourth part is the visual design, right? Basically how it will be visually looking. We will deep dive into deeper aspects of all 4 in the next session. But ये 4 layers है. जब you, whenever you think of a design thinking question, you have to start from a conceptual design layer, right? कि how does someone understand that basically this is as a concept in his head for defining product value, right? Like for Netflix, what is the conceptual design part, right? As simple as that, that I want to discover a movie or content. So the first thing that comes to you is fundamentally the movies that are there. So that is, so I just want to see as a concept, I don't want anything else. I want to see movie titles who I can click and play. Information architecture, how do I position the information in such a way that the most relevant information is there? That's why you see the trending section on top. That's why they showcase कि इंडिया में ये ट्रेंडिंग हो रहा है तो ये देखो. Third is interaction. You click on a button and it's like an immersive experience. It looks like that you're in a theater, right? That's the third part. And the fourth part is the visual design, which looks like how visually the screen is, how appealing it is. You can click and it goes, all the icons go away. And that's why Netflix has a very good design thinking layer, right? Delight is implemented in the interaction layer. Yes, even in the visual design layer, it is the last 2 layers. Madhav, you are right. They are where delight is implemented. So guys, आज मैं यहाँ पे रुक जाऊंगा, ठीक है? आज I will stop here. We will do another session next week. But till today, अभी तक मजा आया? Did you like it? This was the first session of 2022. Was it interesting? Did you like the session? If you truly like the session, please like करो, please channel share करो, प्लीज अपने दोस्तों के साथ 10,000 सब्सक्राइबर जल्दी जल्दी कराओ यार, प्लीज, ठीक है? और सुपर, ऑल माय लव टू यू गाइज. आई वांट ऑल ऑफ यू टू बी सक्सेसफुल. मेहनत करो मेरे साथ यार. दैट्स ऑल आई जस्ट नीड. आई एम पुटिंग सो मच एफर्ट फॉर यू. प्लीज प्लीज उसकी इज्जत करो and genuinely put effort. कोई भी PM बन सकता है. Anybody can become a great PM. What you have to just put your heart and soul into it. That's all you do. And जिसने like नहीं किया भाई, बहुत गाली दूंगा मैं. I'm sorry, but that's, I am your teacher, तो टीचर की इज्जत तो करनी पड़ेगी, ठीक है? Awesome guys, lots of love. See you next week. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I am super pumped. And next week भी मुझे इतने ही लोग चाहिए, even more than that. Share the channel, please. And also जो भी सीखा है ना, one more thing, last thing before I leave, do LinkedIn posts about it. Whatever you have learned, जितना LinkedIn पे लिखोगे ना, writing is essentially very important for a PM. Tag the channel, share it across with as many people. Whatever your learnings are, जो भी तुम सीख रहे हो डालते जाओ, and you will get a lot of feedback. And that is how we build such a strong product community. ठीक है? Awesome guys. Have a great Sunday. Lots of love. Bye bye. Take care.